जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी जय यशोदानंदन भज जानरंजन यशोदानंदन भज जानरंजन यशोदानंदन भज जानरंजन यमुना तीर वनचारी यमुना तीर वनचारी यमुना तीर वनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी जो मिश्मात परमहंस प्रगचार्य अष्टोदर सतीश डिवाइन ग्रेस ऐसे भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्री प्रभुपाद की अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की नवाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की all glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam namaskrutyam naron chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayamudirayet nashtaprayeshu bhadreshu नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवते उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी. Today we are reading from Srimad Bhagwatam 10th canto chapter 8. Krishna shows the universal form. The text is 12th. Sri Garga Uvacha Ayam hi rohinoi putro Ramayan surudo gune आख्यायस्ते राम इति बलाधिक्यात् बलं विदुः यदु नाम पृथग्भावात् संकर्षण्मुष्यन्त्यपि। श्रीगर्ग उवाच अयं हि रोहिणी पुत्रो रमयन् सुहृदो गुणैः आख्यायस्ते राम इति बलाधिक्यात् बलं विदुः यदु नाम पृथग्भावात् संकर्षणमुष्यन्त्यपि। श्रीगर्ग उवाच अयं हि रोहिणी पुत्रो रमयन् सुहृदो गुणैः आख्यायस्ते राम इति बलाधिक्यात् बलं विदुः यदु नाम पृथग्भावात् संकर्षणमुष्यन्त्यपि। Mataji. Sri Garga Uvacha, Garga Muni said, I am this, he, indeed, Rohini Putra, the son of Rohini, Ramayan, pleasing, Surudaha, all his friends and relatives, Gunehe, the transcendental qualities, Akhayaste will be called Rama by the name Ram, the supreme enjoyer. Iti, in this way, Bala Adhikyat, because of extraordinary strength, Balam Vidu will be known as Balaram, Yadunam of the Yadu dynasty, Apraksha Bhavat, because of not being separated from you, Shankarshanam, by the name Shankarshan, or uniting two families, Pushyanti, attracts Api also. Gargamuni said, this child, the son of Rohini, will give all the happiness to his relatives and friends by his transcendental qualities. Therefore, he will be known as Rama. And because he will manifest extraordinary bodily strength, he will also be known as Bala. Moreover, because he unites two families, Vasudeva's family and the family of Nanda Maharaj, he will be known as Shankarshan. Purport: Baldev was actually the son of Devaki, but he was transferred from Devaki's womb to that of Rohini. This fact was not disclosed. According to a statement in Harivamsa, Pratyayuvacha tato Ramaha sarvasham iti abitaha stitan yadaveshu api sarveshu bhavanto mama vallabhaha. Gargamuni did disclose to Nanda Maharaj that Balaram would be known as Shankarshan because of uniting two families, the Yadu Vamsha and the Vamsha of Nanda Maharaj, one of which was known as Kshatriya and other as Vaishya. Both the families had same original father, the only difference being that Nanda Maharaj was born of Vaishya wife, whereas Vasudeva was born of Kshatriya wife. Later, Nanda Maharaj married a Vaishya wife and Vasudeva married a Kshatriya wife. So, although the family of Nanda Maharaj and Vasudeva both come from the same father, they were divided as Kshatriya and Vaishyas. Now, Baldev united them, and therefore he was known as Sankarshan. Om Ajnanatymirandasya Gyananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Mena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalam Sri Guru Vaishnavamsha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakhanvitamsha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Vesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpataru Brasha Krupa Sindhubhya Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So today is the most auspicious day, that is the appearance of Balaramji. So to understand Lord Balaram or to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one must know the process or the sequence by which one should proceed further. So if anyone wants to understand Lord Krishna, or if anyone wants to understand Radha and Krishna, for them the first grace of Baldev is very essential. So same Krishna Balaram comes as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityanand Prabhu. So this process we have seen it very clearly in Chaitanya Charitamrita, that one of our Shad Goswami, Raghunath Das Goswami, he very nicely exhibited this sequence or this procedure of attaining to the lotus feet of Radha and Krishna. So what we have seen is in the case of Raghunath Das Goswami, first he obtained the mercy of Lord Nityanand Prabhu. When he met Lord Nityanand Prabhu in Panihatti, that's the place according to the desire of Lord Nityanand Prabhu. Raghunath Das Goswami arranged all the facilities so that that festival can be performed in a grand manner. And that's how he pleased Nityanand Prabhu. And when he requested that I want to achieve the mercy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was happily given the blessings by Nityanand Prabhu. And then we find that so many days Raghunath Das Goswami was trying to escape from his home, but after attaining the mercy of Nitai, he could go to Jagannath Puri Dham in Nilachal and attain the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And then after the departure of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then he comes to Vrindavan, he stays in Govardhan, and the association of Rupa and Sanatan Goswami, he could attain the lotus feet of Radha and Krishna. So the process is very clear in this Kali Yuga for all of us. First we should take the shelter of Nityanand Prabhu, who is none other than Baldev, and then we can attain the mercy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And when we have a mercy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we can understand the mysteries of Radha Krishna, or we can attain the lotus feet of Radha and Krishna. So this procedure is absolutely necessary to be followed. And those who don't follow this, they are unable to achieve the grace of Radha and Krishna. So what we have to understand is Lord Baldev represents Guru Tattva. That means all the disciplic successions, they get the strength from Baldev. And what we see is Lord Baladev's blessings are very essential for us to understand Radha and Krishna. Because Baladev, in his form as Anantashesh, he continuously with his thousands of mouth keeps on singing the glories of Lord Krishna. So we can understand that all of us who are doing Bhagavad Kathas are getting the all information and mercy from Baldev, Anantashesh, and that's how we are able to repeat. So he is considered as the original Kathakar. He is the original person who narrates the Krishna Leela, and in disciplic succession all of us we are able to recite further. And then we see the qualities, the ideal qualities of a spiritual master. If you open the Chaitanya Charitamrita, and Krishnadas Kaviraj, who is the author of Chaitanya Charitamrita, when he starts narrating the pastimes, the first thing that he does is he talks about his own fallen condition. Though he was at the age of 90, he was very exalted Vaishnava. He was personally given instruction by Lord Nityanand Prabhu to go to Vrindavan and write the literature about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But still in the beginning of Chaitanya Charitamrita, he talks about his fallen condition. He says that I am the worse than even Jagai and Madai. But on the order of Nityanand Prabhu, what I heard from Raghunath Das Goswami, and with the blessings of Rupa and Sanatan Goswami, I will be writing this book of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes, which later became known as Chaitanya Charitamrita. So the thing is, the Acharyas, whatever he speaks, the same thing he follows, and that's how we develop faith in the words of our spiritual master. And this, the spiritual mercy, flows in discipline succession, and it originates from Baldev. And anybody who doesn't follow this process will not be benefited at all. And Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami gives the clear example that actually Krishnadas Kaviraj brother, he had such a faith in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he accepted him as a Lord Krishna, and with lot of determination he would worship Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but he would not accept Nityananda Prabhu. And Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami becomes angry on him and clearly tells that if you want to attain the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then mercy of Nityananda Prabhu is most essential. Without that, you will not be successful. And then there was a Brahmin named Gunarnava Mishra who was showing devotion to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu but was not showing any faith in Nityananda Prabhu. And Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami very clearly writes that if you don't follow these proper processes, eventually you will fall down from path of devotional service. And that's what exactly happens, that his brother fell down from his position. And then we have seen another example that happens in Ramayana, where there was a Dravida monkey was there. He was a gorilla monkey. And he was fighting on behalf of Lord Ram. So he had a faith in Lord Ram, but he didn't have a faith in Lakshman. So what would happen is he would disrespect Lakshmana. So Dravida, who at one time was putting his own life at stake for the purpose of Lord Ram, he was fighting against Ravana, and his colleagues were the Hanuman was with him, Sugriva was with him. So he was fighting in the army of exalted devotees like Hanumanji, Sugriva, and fought for the Ram. But because of disrespect towards Lakshman, eventually he fell down. So whoever showed disrespect to Lakshman, Baldev or Nityananda eventually could not attain the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. So this is what is very clear that all of us we have to understand. The glories of Baldev is that first we must develop faith in Lord Baldev, and after achieving his mercy, we can further go ahead to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And there is another example where Murari Gupta was there and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu would be sitting. So Murari Gupta came first and he offered obeisances to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and later he offered obeisances to Nityananda Prabhu. And this behavior was disapproved by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And that stage Murari Gupta became confused that why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is not pleased with me. That day he goes home after taking prasad given by his devoted wife. When he goes to sleep in the night, he had a dream, and in that dream Chaitanya Mahaprabhu turns into Lord Krishna and Nityananda Prabhu turns into Lord Baldev. And that's where Murari Gupta understands that Nityananda Prabhu is none different than Balaram. And in that dream, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructs him that first you must attain the mercy of Balaram and then you can come to me. So next day when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu were sitting and Murari Gupta comes, then first he offers obeisances to Nityananda Prabhu, then he gets up and then offers obeisances to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu becomes very pleased, and then he says that now that you are following proper etiquette, and this is the way you can please me. So there are the very clear, direct instructions, very clear, direct pastimes, where all of us, we have to understand that first we must get the grace of Baldev. Getting grace of Baldev means pleasing our own spiritual master, and only when we can please our spiritual master, then we can get faith and devotion, and then we'll be able to please our Ishtadev, that is Radha and Krishna. Now we'll talk about the appearance of Lord Baldev. So we see in the 10th canto this Krishna Lila is explained, and it begins with the atrocities of Kamsa, that how he was harassing all the people, and he was trying to establish his own supremacy. And when he was in that wedding procession where he himself was taking Devaki to the house of Vasudeva, her husband, and that time that divine voice speaks from the sky and warns him that you are a fool, the 8th child of Devaki will kill you. Then immediately Kamsa goes back to his demonic tendencies. All the love and affection which he had for his own sister, he forgets everything, and his self-consciousness develops. And at once he takes the sword and wants to kill his own sister. Where somehow or other Vasudeva first talks of philosophy, but Kamsa had no interest in the philosophy. Then he understands and he starts negotiation with Kamsa, and he explains that I will give all the children to you. And that's what Kamsa understands, and he had a faith that Vasudeva is such a truthful person that he will not cheat me and he will hand over all his children to me. And that's how, like, what we can see is what Vasudeva and Devaki had to undergo, that the children would be born, and right in front of Devaki, the Kamsa would come, take that infant child and smash it against the stone slab and kill them. And that's how one by one all the 5 children gets killed, 6 children gets killed. And then 7th, when Devaki becomes pregnant, that time on the order of Yogamaya, the child is transferred from Devaki's womb to Rohini's womb. Now, many people have this question that how this kind of uncommon things happen. Because most of the time the living entity has accustomed to understand things from his logical point of view. What he can understand through his own experience, what he can see, and that's what he believes. So when these kinds of things that are mentioned in the scriptures, which are absolutely inconceivable, absolutely beyond our logic to understand, then we get lots of doubt. And that is why it is very clearly mentioned that without the help of Guru, we cannot understand the divine appearance of the Supreme Lord. And this divine appearance of the Supreme Lord in this material world actually remains a mystery for us forever, and it's impossible for us to figure it out that how can the child from one mother is transferred to another. But then it was the desire of the Supreme Lord Krishna, and he thought that as per this pastime, this child is none other than Balaram, and it should be transferred from Rohini's womb to from the womb of Devaki to the Rohini. And then what happens is, when there is a divine appearance, That time the sages like Narad Muni, sages like Vasudev, by their calculation they can understand that this is the right time wherein the Lord himself will appear. And they are very eager to have the glimpse, have the darshan of the Lord. So Vasudev, as soon as this Balaram appears, or when Lord Krishna appears, and later when Srimati Radharani appears, immediately they go and see the infant form of the Supreme Lord. And that's how the Vasudev comes to see Lord Balaram. And he requests them that please show me the beautiful form of your child. But the Vasudev wanted to see that this is a supreme personal who is greater than the greatest, but now he has taken a human form and just like laying in the arms of his mother, just like an infant child. So usually we see the materialistic people, they travel to so many places and where they go, they like to see the natural wonders, or they like to see some architectural structures. And that's how they roam around, they spend all their money and time looking into this kind of things. But the great sages, they go lots of austerities to have the personal darshan of Lord Krishna. And that's how we see Narad Muni goes to Barsana to see Srimati Radharani. In fact, that time first to the Raval and then to Barsana. And this is how Lord Shiva also comes to have the darshan of Lord Krishna in Nandagam. So desire of the great sages is to have mercy of Radha and Krishna and to take their darshans. Whereas the materialistic person will just keep on wondering to see the natural beauties or the architectural wonders. And then here we find that Garga Muni is performing the name-giving ceremony of Balaram as well as Lord Krishna. And he is explaining that he is giving their names. So all their names are mentioned over here. That this child of Rohini, he will belong because he will be having transcendental qualities and he is giving pleasure. So he will be called as Balaram. Then he has a strength. So that's why he will be called Baladev. And because he is uniting to two families, he will be called as Shankarshan as well. So what we see is why Baladev come first in the womb of Devaki. Because he wanted to purify that place, because the next birth, the pregnancy would be the Supreme Lord himself will be appearing. So he comes and cleans that place, makes the things auspicious. So if we want to understand Baladev, then we should see the Tattva. So where Lord Krishna, he is in Swayam Rupa, his original form. So when Lord Krishna expands himself into in Rasa Leela, so as many gopis are there, that many times the Krishna expands himself. So that is called Swayam Rupa, original form. And then Lord Krishna, when he is having pastimes with the queens, with 16,108 queens in Dwarka, so he expands himself, that is called the Swayam Rupa. And then that's a Swayam Prakash where Krishna's personal manifestation is there. And then Balaram is the Vaibhav Prakash, so that when Lord Krishna appears differently, but according to different emotions, so that is called Sri Balaram, and it comes in the category of Vaibhav Prakash. And from Balaramji, the first Adi Chaturvibha comes, in which Vasudev, then Mula Shankarshan, Pradumna and Anuruddha comes. From there, then Narayana expands. And from that, then Dvitiya Chaturvyuha comes, in which Vasudeva, Mahashankarshan, Pradyumna and Anuruddha comes. And from that comes like different Purusha avatars, Mahavishnu, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, Shirodakshaya Vishnus. So in that, we have to understand that all these expansions comes from Baldev. And what is the purpose? To give Krishna pleasure, assist Krishna in his pastimes. So in one sense, in Chaitanya Charitamrita it is clearly described that Vaibhav Prakash Krishna Rara Sri Balaram Varna Matra Bheda Sabha Krishna Saman. So what is a Bheda? It's just a Varna. That means Lord Baldev is like Sharat Kaling white cloud, and Lord Krishna is in the rainy season the black clouds. All their potency is the same, but Balaram on his own accepts the service of Lord Krishna. So then what happens is he serves Lord Krishna in the 5 rasas. So first is the Shantarasa, in which he expands himself in Golok Vrindavan. So all this spiritual world is nothing but the expansions of Sri Baldev's spiritual potency. And at the same time, he also expands like the Krishna's crown, Krishna's flute, Krishna's slippers, clothes, ornaments. So when we see the beautiful form of Krishna, we see so many beautiful ornaments that are there, which enhances his beauty. And our mind gets attracted to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It's nothing but Sri Baldev expanding himself. And Baldev also has this prominent feeling that I always have to serve Lord Krishna. So in Shantaras we have seen that he expands into different facilities by which Krishna can enjoy. Then Dasaras, Baldev always serves him as his menial servant. Then Sakyaras, that acts as a Krishna's friends. There is a place called Ramandriti where all the Krishna will fight with all his cowherd boys and with Baldev. So they play together, they will dance together, then all of them they will herd cows together. Then while playing they will have so many different arguments, and then they will fight with each other. So Krishna, when has a desire to enjoy in a Sakyaras, then Baldev facilitates that. He becomes part in that. At the same time, Baldev also has some Vatsalya bhav towards Krishna, because being the elder brother, sometimes elder brother takes this facility or position that just like father mother instructs the child, similarly elder brother or elder sister also instruct the younger ones that Krishna, now it's late, now you should go home, now it's a time that you must wake up, this is a time you must take the food, this is dangerous gleam, or this is a dangerous place. So that's as the Vatsalya bhav means how one is protective about the siblings. So similarly, the Baldev sometimes takes this form, this role as the Vatsalya. And then as far as Madhurya Ras is concerned, now Krishna has got so many gopis, and then he performed Rasa Leela. Now if the elder brother Baldev comes over there, it will be uncomfortable for Lord Krishna, at the same time gopis also, to have such kind of pastimes, conjugal pastimes with Krishna in the presence of his elder brother. So Baldev expands himself as Ananga Manjari. She becomes the younger sister of Srimati Radharani, and she eternally serves Srimati Radharani. She is none other than Baldev. And she has got a very beautiful face, like resembles kind of a millions of moons. And she is always surrounded by various Sakhis. And she stays with Srimati Radharani. And as a younger sister, she always helps her to decorate. She always helps her in Radha Krishna's pastimes. And she stays in a place called Mani Mandir. So this is how we can see that Lord Balaram, he is assisting Lord Krishna in all 5 rasas. So he is a Supreme Personality of Godhead himself, but he is a servitude Godhead and always serves Lord Krishna. The point for all of us, what we have to understand is that we must understand that this, without the mercy of Balaram, we cannot understand the Lord Krishna, his pastimes, his leelas, and his potencies will remain the mystery for all of us. So as we see in Vrindavan, in Gokul, both Krishna and Balaram, as they grew up, sometimes they play nicely, sometimes they mischievously fight with each other. And one time it happens that was always a tradition that Krishna and Balaram would first come in front of their father and mother, Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj. They would offer them obeisances, they would take their blessings, and then they would go out along with Sridama, Sudama, Vasudama, and so many of Gopas. And they would play in the dust of Vrindavan. And then the Balaram, as the elder one, was always instructed by Mother Yashoda that you please keep eye on him when he plays some dangerous games, or when he goes to a place which is dangerous, then you should protect him. And that's how the Baldev would always keep eye on him. And one day Krishna eats some dirt. And all of them, they see, all cowherd boys, they see, the Balaram also sees. So for one day he eats, and then this Balaram and other boys warn Krishna. Then again next day, Krishna eats the dirt. And that time, the Balaram says that now I must complain to mother. So she should know the activities of her son. So he goes and tells Mother Yashoda that Krishna is eating dirt. And then Mother Yashoda comes immediately to Krishna, grabs him from behind. And then she says, like, no, you are a fickle boy. Why did you do this kind of act? And then the mother said that Krishna replies that I haven't done anything. Then mother says, you ate the dirt. Then Krishna says, who says that? And mother says, all of your friends are saying that you eat the dirt. Then Krishna says that actually all of them are conspiring against me, and that's how they are telling you all these things. Actually all these boys, they stole sweets from their house, and then they were showing all these sweets to me, and then they shamelessly, out of greed, wanted to eat them, and they wanted me also to participate in their this thievery, this theft. I didn't want to eat any stolen food, and that is why they tried to silence me by force, and that's how they are implicating me by trickery in this. Because we had a just insignificant some quarrel, and they are all taking revenge on me. So then Mother Yashoda says that you are the king of pretenders. You know how to pretend. But your older brother, he is speaking. So why he is speaking like this? So, and then Krishna replies that all these cowherd boys and Baldev, they are together and all of them are speaking lies. So then Mother Yashoda says that actually you are liar. The why Baldev will speak anything without proper proof. So that time Lord Krishna says that actually Baldev is from their side, and actually what happened 2 days back, Baldev himself ate some dirt, and I was going to inform you about that. So he knew that I will inform you about he eating dirt, and that's why in advance, before I could tell you, he is accusing me of eating the dust. So then Mother Yashoda says, now enough, now you open your mouth and show me. So then Krishna says that actually all these boys forcefully put me this thing in my throat. So then Mother Yashoda smiles and with anger, then please show me your mouth. And then as now Krishna was thinking that mother is getting on his case and she is becoming very serious about this. So now he wants to deflect the whole thing. So as Mother Yashoda tells these things to open the mouth, then he shows entire universe, and then Mother Yashoda gets completely bewildered and he forgets about the real cause for which he was called. So this is how Baladev gives the pleasure to Krishna while playing the different games. And then what we see, that Balaram always understand that he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he is the Supreme Enjoyer, and I should be serving him. And then we can also understand that one Leela, that is Brahma Vimohan Leela, is there, where this is very clearly exhibited, that Balaram shows that I am also can be bewildered or can be not understood the Krishna's potencies. So what happens is when Lord Brahma takes the all cowherd boys and keeps them in the cave, that time one unique phenomena happens, that whenever the milkman, the cowherd people would milk their cows, the cows would ignore their newly born babies and then they would give milk to the elder calves. And because as the calves grows, when they become old enough, then they stop drinking milk from the mother and they start eating grass. But then what would happen is the cows would feed milk to the elder ones and not the younger ones. And then all the people in Vraj would get so much attraction from their children, because there was one attraction to their own children and there was another attraction towards Lord Krishna. Now what experience and pleasure they would get by Lord Krishna, the same pleasure would be getting it from their own children. And this was all that thing was happening for almost a year. But nobody could think that to investigate things, because nobody noticed these things. And this Brahma Vivahan Villa happens on Balaram Jayanti. So, in one sense, the Baldev is the elder one, and he is also cause of the universe. He is the Vishnu sleeping in the ocean, and he is very dear to Lord Krishna. But Lord Krishna should not have deceived him like this. But then Krishna performs this Leela because Krishna did not want Balaram to suffer any separations from Sridama and others for a period of 1 year. Because what happens is, actually Lord Brahma understands that he is playing with the fire. He is testing the power of Supreme Personality of Godhead. So even though he takes the boys, keeps them in the cave, and within one moment he comes back because of some fear in the heart. But that one moment of Brahma is equivalent to 1 year, 1 full year as per earthly calculations. So what happens is, just next year, before Balaram Jayanti, 5 days before that, when Krishna desires, he instructs Yogamaya, and when Yogamaya withdraws her cover, then gradually Balaram understands. So then all the mothers in Vrindavan had the same experience, that what feeling we have towards Krishna, the same feeling and pleasure experience we have with our children now. And Balaram also could understand that what feeling he has towards Lord Krishna, same feeling he is now feeling with all the cowherd boys as well. So then he starts understanding that this is something different. The pleasure that I am getting while dealing with Krishna, the same pleasure how I am getting it by dealing with all other cowherd boys as well. So when these things started saying, so one day so happened that all the cows saw their calves below. So from the top of the mountain, with a great speed, all the cows come down, and they start feeding the milk to their calves. And then cowherd people who were herding the cows, they thought that all the milk will be drank by the calves, so we will not get. So in anger, they were chasing all the cows. But when they came in front of their own children, immediately they became pacified, and they forgot their anger, and anger turned into ecstasy. And when Balaram saw this, that's the time he started understanding that this is something different. So then he started thinking that, is it the Rakshasi Maya that is influencing on me? But then he thought it must be Krishna's Maya. And then he concluded all these cows and cowherd boys must be Krishna's expansion. Because if any devatas are playing any influence, covering things, or any rishi is playing these things, or any demon like Kamsa is putting his Maya Shakti, but then in thinking that one of my amsha is Mahavishnu, and by his potency all the Mahatattva is created and all these devatas are created. And by the potency of Mahavishnu, who is bewildering even devatas like Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma, then they are bewildering great sages. But how is that? Like, it's my amsha, that means lesser potency. So how can any Rishi's Maya or any demigod's Maya or Rakshasa Maya can influence me? So that's the time when he asks Krishna, then Krishna explains him the whole thing. So then, this question comes up that why Krishna did these things to Balaram. Because Krishna knew that Baldev is very soft, he is very merciful, and he will not tolerate this kind of things. Well, Lord Brahma is taking all the calves, all the boys, and keeping them in the cave. He won't be able to tolerate these conditions. And that's why the Lord Krishna covers Balaram also with his potency. And that's how this whole day is selected. It was Baldev's appearance day. So Baldev's mother Rohini keeps him in the home, because on birthday there are lots of rituals that is to be performed. And one of the rituals is like given a very ceremonial bath to the child whose birthday is there on that. So there is a Shantika Snan is described. So to perform all these rituals and then preparing the child for the blessings from the sages, all those things are done at the uh, birthday of a child, so that it is celebrated as per all the Vedic mantras, the chanting of the Vedic mantras, the blessings and from the sages and the blessings from the Supreme Lord, so that the child future will be auspicious. So when Lord Brahma returns, that's exactly 1 year, and again Balaram was kept in home because of his birthday. So if you read Srimad Bhagwatam, there is a description by Brahma. So Brahma sees all the Vrindavan, he sees Krishna in cowherd boys. But Balaram's name is not mentioned, because at the time of stealing and 1 year later also Balaram was not present. So Srimad Bhagwatam verses doesn't mention that Brahma saw Baldev. So that the thing is, so then Baldev understands, like the Brahma's body is material and the body of Gopas is spiritual. So Brahma will have no capacity to steal the cowherd boys. So it's only by Krishna's Maya Shakti all these things has happened. So Brahma was trying to test, but what happens is Brahma is also supreme plan maker. Now we are living entities, we make some plans. And Brahma is like such a superior person within this material world. He has a supreme plans, but what happens is in this Leela, we can understand that Brahma also him understands his position. A beautiful example is given by the Acharyas. There's firefly and the sun. So daytime when the firefly exhibits its power, its brilliance, what happens is it is such an insignificant in front of the sunlight. So similarly Brahma realizes that he is such an insignificant in front of Krishna's Shakti. So he understands that the pride in my heart, the pride is considered as the first step towards the fall down. And one cannot attain the lotus feet of Lord Krishna if the pride is there in the heart. And that's why now if the pride has to be removed from the heart, then the firm faith in one's Guru, one's Shastra is essential. And then only ultimately Guru and Shastra will take us to the lotus feet of Krishna. And pride will prohibit that. So this Brahma Vimla exhibits like people have got so much pride in the mundane scholarships and the speculative scholarship. And with that scholarship we try to understand the absolute truth which is beyond our intellectual, and that's why we are unable to understand this. And then what happens is when Lord Brahma comes back, he understands his mistakes. He understands that because of the pride in the heart, he has done these things. And when all the pride is gone, when he understands his insignificant person, that's the first time he sees Vrindavan. Then he understands that all the land is Chintamani Dham, all the trees are Kalpavrikshas. He understands the divine position of Lord Krishna. He understands the divine position of cows, understands divine position of cowherd boys. And there is a beautiful description which Lord Brahma does about the Vrindavan. And then Brahmaji starts praise, but he says that Lord Krishna is not reciprocating it. So he understands that I should immediately go back to my planet and starts performing my service. So Krishna wants me to resume my service, so he circumambulates and quietly leaves that. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur in Navadip Mahatma mentions that there is a place in Antardvip where Lord Brahma performs the tapasya, and by his austerities, Lord Krishna, that is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, appears and fulfills the desire of Lord Brahma to become the Haridas Thakur. So this is how we can see, to clearly understand Vrindavan, one has to completely surrender, give up all the pride, and then he can understand the Vrindavan. And that's how Lord Brahma himself has exhibited by becoming Haridas Thakur, where he was completely outside of a Varnashram system, and he was celebrated as the Namacharyas. So we can see Srila Prabhupada established Krishna Balaram temple in Vrindavan. Most of the places he established Radha Krishna deities. But in Vrindavan, he also installed Krishna Balaram. And one day Srila Prabhupada was mentioning that all my disciples are preaching all over the world. And when you preach, you have to fight against the Maya. So when they come to Vrindavan, they will come to our Krishna Balaram temple, they will stand in front of Baldev and offer praise, and Baldev will give them a strength so that they can go on preaching vigorously in the Western countries. So Srila Prabhupada was always mentioning that when you take responsibility for preaching Krishna consciousness, that is the way you get the mercy of Krishna and the spiritual master. So when you please your spiritual master by rendering service, then Lord Krishna will be pleased. So on this day of Balaram Jayanti, what principle that we must understand, that if we want to get the mercy of Baldev, first we have to understand the Guru Tattva. And when you understand Guru Tattva properly, then we can understand the Supreme Lord. Now when we go out, so many people ask, like, can you show me the God? Can I experience the God now? This is a common question people want to understand. That you are saying there is a Supreme Lord, then can I see Him? Can I experience Him? Then we can say that the Supreme Lord is very exalted. Can you even understand the Acharya? Can you even understand Mahapurush? The person who is a great personality, who is right in front of you. He is in this world. You can see his activities. You can see his teachings. So your position is you cannot even understand the Acharya, you cannot even understand Guru. Then how can you try to understand the inconceivable person? So the thing is, what we have to understand is, we are most unqualified people. We have to serve our spiritual master. We have to follow the instructions of our spiritual master. Then we can discuss with our spiritual master different pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the different principles that are mentioned in the Shastras. We can also discuss with our spiritual master the spiritual conclusions, because Guru is the person who knows all the philosophical conclusions, and he is the only one who can show us the proper path. So the Lord is considered as the great jewel, and a spiritual master is a jeweler. Now, if you want to buy a jewel, now how many of us have a knowledge and understanding to find out the true jewel? Because outwardly, even unpolished stone and a similar imitation jewelry will also be equivalent to that of the original one. So we will not be able to even find out the difference between imitation jewelry and the real jewelry. Then what to speak of finding out the real jewel? So the thing is, that's why the jeweler means a guru. He will point us the proper path, and then we will be able to recognize what is the topmost jewel. So the thing is, we have to follow the instructions of our spiritual master. Spiritual master will give us instruction as per our qualification. He will tell us in which way to go. By following his instructions, we will get the grace of our spiritual master, and then we can understand the Supreme Lord. But what happens is, especially in Kali Yuga, our mind is very scattered. So what happens is, we go to one sannyasi today, then you go to another Baba, to another day, then we'll go to some fakir another day. So this is how we keep wandering from one place to another, thinking that I will get some higher understanding. But this is the genuine obstacle on the path of devotional service, because we have to remain fixed at the lotus feet of our spiritual master. Because the fixation at the lotus feet of spiritual master is equivalent to the fixation with the Supreme Lord. This has to be understood. The people try to jump devotion to the Supreme Lord, but devotion to Guru is also devotion to the Supreme Lord. So what should be in the heart of a sadhaka is the whole heart, whole our mind should be in the service of our spiritual master. So who is the fortunate sadhaka? We can say that he has a fixed loyalty at the lotus feet of his Guru in all circumstances. Then only he can attain everything. If the loyalty remains scattered, as we previously described, and if there are so many doubts, then that's an unfortunate situation. The fortunate sadhaka, he will have a fixed loyalty in all circumstances, and then such a fortunate person becomes a receptacle to receive the Lord's mercy. And scattered mind will not work. So this is what we have to understand on the day of Balaram Jayanti, that our spiritual master gets strength from Lord Balaram, and by serving our spiritual master we will be able to please the Baldev, and by pleasing Baldev eventually we can go to the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. Now many times people have this another doubt, like we many times pray to the Supreme Lord, and we don't understand whether Supreme Lord is able to hear our prayers. So how does Lord hear our prayers? So what happens is, we may pray to the Lord, we may be anxiously weeping for the mercy of the Lord, but sometimes it will reach. But if you pray to the spiritual master, then it will always reach. So this is what we have to understand, that prayer has to be rooted to the spiritual master. If somebody directly goes to the Supreme Lord with all his prayers, then what happens is, Lord may or may not listen. So there is So what we have to understand that we make a differentiation. We think that there is devotion to the Guru, devotion to the Supreme Lord. But then what happens is the firm devotion to the Guru will eventually lead to the attainment of devotion to the Supreme Lord. So there was one pastime mentioned that Lord Krishna was taking meal in Dwarka. He was served by his beloved wife Rukmini. And one day, one devotee got into trouble and he anxiously called to the spiritual master. And that time Krishna was sitting in Dwarka taking his meal. So without finishing his meal, Krishna stopped eating and jumped up. Then Rukmini becomes like surprised. She says that what happened today, that why you have stopped eating and you are in anxiety. So then Lord explains that one of my devotee is calling me. Then Rukmini said, no, what's great in that? Because I know all your devotees, you have so many devotees, and all the time they are calling you, but you never stop eating. So what happens especially today? So then she says that to her answer, the Lord Krishna says that your question is correct, that so many devotees are calling me all the time and they are praying to me. So how they play is like they say, oh Bhagavan, please save me. So what happens is I will save them, but after some time. But if somebody roots his prayer through the spiritual master, then I must immediately reciprocate. And I must manifest to that person through the spiritual master. So I must respond it quickly. So this is how he explains. So that is why, like how our morning program is designed. If you say in the morning, as soon as we see the darshan opens and we see the beautiful form of the deities, and we are singing the praise to our spiritual master. And then after our japa and after Shringar Darshan, again we have a Guru Puja, we offer prayers to the Guru. So in our morning program, the prayers to one spiritual master is the prominent part, and we should be very attentive while offering prayers, these kinds of prayers. And in one of the prayers we mentioned like one must offer same respect to one spiritual master to that of the Supreme Lord. So a person who has firm faith is this understanding that our spiritual master is it has the same potency or same power of attaining to that of the Supreme Lord, that devotee is considered as the king of devotees. And he has understood that this Guru Bhakti will ultimately combines into Bhagavad Bhakti. And that's how we have seen in Chaitanya Charitamrita, especially in Chaitanya Bhagavat, that there is a description mentions. It talks about if Lord Nityananda goes into a place where the liquor is served, I will still have a firm faith in Lord Nityananda. So this is how, so it's mentioned that how one has to have such a firm faith in the one spiritual master, and firm faith in the spiritual master will eventually lead us to the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. So on this occasion of Balaram Jayanti, we offer prayers unto his lotus feet, and basically by his mercy, it is said that whenever there is a birth appearance of the particular day, that's the time the personality is very in merciful mood and can bestow different blessings upon us. So what we have to do is, we must know what right kind of thing to ask for. So on this day we should ask for Lord Balaram's mercy, means faith in one spiritual master, and one who has a firm faith in the mercy of one spiritual master, he can attain anything in this material world. Hare Krishna. So is there any question or comment anyone wants to ask? Okay, so we'll end here. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagwatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda ki.